Well, boy, chat. Well, boy, I completely messed up my sleeping schedule. So I feel like grandpa. I'm awaking at 5 a.m. and I got nothing to do because it's 5 a.m. Everybody's asleep. And then I see all the news from last night, and I'm like, okay, do I wait until I talk about it, or do I stream right here and there? So I guess I'll be streaming right here and there. Where where's my troll? Why don't I have a troll? Ah, there we go. Yeah. By the way, for my fans that are asking, I did submit my game to Steam, and it came back saying that I promised Steam in a consent form that there's going to be drugs in the game, and they couldn't find any drugs in the game. So now I have 1 week to fix it. So I'll be like, okay, well, because like on the consent form, I just like checked everything that's nasty just to be sure. You know, it's like, look, my game is nasty, just to prove it, just to prove it. It's like, look, it's really bad, okay? It's very bad, very very bad game. Keep your children away from it, right? Just very bad game, very very nasty. But apparently no, like Steam is like, look, we actually want to see the nastiness. Like you said, there's drugs. Where are the drugs? And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, fine. To be fair, like there are drugs in the game. It's just that I haven't added them in it. There's a pharmaceutical guy in the game. It's kind of nice when you make a fiction that you can take real world events, right? But you have to do it sensibly. Sensibly is the thing, right? So like this pharmaceutical guy, he does the drugs, and it's in the game. I haven't added it in yet, but now I'm thinking like maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I just shouldn't add it, and it uncomplicates things, right? So there's that. Um, well, I was thinking it's like, okay, so like if the game is going to get like the highest rating anyway, it's like what's the point? Might as well go all in. You know, like might as well have booze in it, might as well have like every nasty thing in it, because like if you're going to make an edgy game, just fucking make it edgy. Fucking make it edgy. Like what's the point? You know, like look at the ESRB list. Look at what like they don't like what includes the final category, and just like make it a checklist and add everything. Paid off Uncle Sam today. One for the tip jar. Well, thank you, Midwest Finest. Yeah, anyway, right. We're going to be discussing other interesting topics. So on the Republican National Convention, I haven't seen any streamers getting banned. To be fair, you didn't really have like streamers that would talk against the RNC from the grounds of the RNC, right? So like that is something that you can say like maybe there would have been, you know, like if they would have invited Fuentes, right? If they would have invited Fuentes to the RNC, and they would have they would have probably kicked him off, right? Like they wouldn't allow him to stay there the moment he starts talking. But like they didn't do that. Like they knew who the streamers that they invite are. They knew their politics, so like they made sure, you know, it's part of the competency crisis. Really, it's like you don't want to invite a journalist or a streamer that is going to say things that you don't like, so you can kick them afterwards. It just looks bad on the cameras. You know, it's not a good look. Not good optics. Yes, it's live. Tag the mage. So that was interesting. That now, in my opinion, Hassan Piker is the left-leaning equivalent of someone like America Fuentes. You know, of someone like Fuentes. It's like two sides of the same coin. Like one is on the far end of the left spectrum, one is on the far right of the right spectrum. But what's interesting is like why the RNC doesn't associate with Fuentes. The Democrats absolutely love to associate themselves with Hassan Piker, which had very questionable things said on his stream. Things regarding 9/11, like he had a Houthi. A Houthi. What is a Houthi? I don't even know what a Houthi is. I had to look it up. Like, I'm not American. My country is not at war with them. But, yeah, he had a Houthi on his stream. He had a pirate. Even Ubisoft didn't have a pirate, right? He had very racist remarks to say against white people. Like, I don't know why Hassan Piker doesn't like people from Romania. I don't know what Romanians did to him. I don't know what my mother or my dad did to Hassan Piker. But he used negative slurs at white people several times, and when getting banned for saying them, he said them some more, and he just didn't understand why he's getting banned, right? So this is the type of person that Hassan Piker is, and yet, despite all of this, the DNC invites him in. Maybe this is like a psyop. They invited him in order to kick him later. You think Houthis are Americans? No, I think America is at war with the Houthis. Like, pay attention to what I'm saying. Don't put words in my mouth. Don't listen to things that you think I'm saying. I didn't say that Houthis are Americans. Although it's possible. You know, at this point, I do think... okay, chat, please help me understand if this is correct or not, right? So, like, let's take a Houthi. Again, I do not know who these people are. But, like, imagine an individual Houthi, right? Like, close your minds and picture a Houthi. And this Houthi makes a journey to Mexico, right? And once he's in Mexico, he finds a coyote. And with the coyote, he manages to travel in the good old United States of America. And now he goes to California and wants to make a loan for a down payment for a house. Please tell me which obstructions, legal obstructions, would be against the Houthi from achieving his American dream. Like what exactly would prevent him from doing this? Like, at which point is he committing a crime? How likely is it that he is going to get stopped? And what is the public opinion on this? I'm not on drugs. It's like, what? No, a Houthi. Not a Houthi. H. Dude. It's like a pirate. A modern day pirate. They don't have parrots and stuff. They don't go R. But they mess with little boat, and America doesn't like it when you mess with little boat. They bring down the empire. Like, no, seriously, did you guys saw that TikTok video? Like, holy shit. Like, it was the US Navy meeting with the UK Navy, and I think, like, there was another country there with the Navy that met. So, like, the French Navy, or probably. And it was like this massive shit that looked like it's coming from the Star Wars Empire, with like naval destroyers and with helicopters and planes flying over jet. And you're like, why are they doing this? And it's like, oh, because, like, some people are fucking with the little boat. Like, this is the only thing that America doesn't like. Like, you can do a lot of stuff. You know, you can do a lot of nasty stuff in America. And they like, oh, we're tolerant and we're promoting diversity and equity and we don't care. But the moment you fuck with that little boat, the moment you touch that little merchant ship, they get really, really upset. Yeah, Hassan is a legit Houthi fanboy. I will tell you something. If Houthi were to actually get their ways, right? So, like, let's say they're allowed to do what they do unchallenged, which is to stop merchant ships from coming into the United States, right? So, like, now all the merchant ships have to go around, and the price for consumer goods become really high. And when Hassan notices, oh, in order to buy an iPhone, I now need to pay 50% more. Oh shit, everything is getting more expensive. Oh, like people are giving me less super chats because people are making less money. Oh, I'm getting less viewers because people now need to get jobs. It's like everyone is desperate. Hassan wouldn't like that, right? But he likes it in theory because he doesn't know the cause and effect. Like he thinks, oh, like they're out there doing stuff that doesn't affect me, you know, and my country does stuff that affects them, and it's not good. Hassan needs a visit from the Irish Candyman. That really rattled him, didn't it? That really rattled it. Like there's a lot of streamers that get challenged to a fight, right? Like there's a lot of streamers that it's like, okay, let's go to a boxing match. Let's go to a K1 sport, like something like that. And most streamers know how to respond to that. Like there's two ways you can well, actually there's three ways. The most common way is to accept and then pussy out. Like this is the default for many streamers, right? Like they will say, yeah, sure, I'm going to be there. But usually what happens is like the other guy shows his training. He goes to the boxing the boxing what do they call it? The boxing bag, right? The punching bag, and they go like ice, and the other guy just freaks out. It's like, oh shit, I don't want that ice. Like, and then they don't show up, right? So like this is the the default, I would say. It's what happens when streamers want to go to a boxing competition or stuff. The second one is just you say no, right? Like, you say no and you find a bullshit reason. It's also acceptable, like I have seen it. And the third one is they actually do it. Hassan Piker went with option 2, was like, oh, I'm not fighting a Nazi. Oh, he's a Nazi. It's like, yeah, but like, didn't you say you want to punch a Nazi? Like, here's your chance to do it legally. Here's your chance to go into combat. The thing, like, I would have said, like, if I was Hassan, like, the way you could actually get out of this situation, it's like you're challenged by the Candyman, right? And you don't want to fight. But you can say, look, I'm a political commentator. If I go into a ring, like, that would make me look like a clown, like a buffoon. I understand that the Candyman is a comedian. It's what he does. But, like, I'm an intellectual. I do intellectual talking points. It's not my brand to go and fight. Blah, blah, blah. And you know, you just back away from that gracefully. But no, he's like, I'm not going to fight a Nazi. Even though, like, a couple of years ago, he was like, oh, punching a Nazi, punching, Nazi, punching. Georgia Zamfir is the best. Is it okay if I don't know who the man is? Like, I'm sorry, I am a Romanian, but, like, I don't keep tracks of Romanian politics. Except when they want to fuck with my taxes. I swear to fucking God, if the Romanian government keeps fucking with my taxes, I will fucking leave. I will fucking leave. Actually, I don't even have to leave. Like, apparently you can just open a business in another country. Like, this is allowed. I'll have to ask an accountant and a lawyer to see, like, the legality of the issue. But it's starting to piss me off. Like, apparently other people don't pay their taxes. So, like, the people that do, aka me, they keep squeezing us. They keep squeezing. Like, enough. You've taxed me enough already. How much are you going to tax me further? Not to mention, like, a lot of my tax, like the actual Romanian taxation system is fine. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I do have a problem, though, with the pension fund and the medical fund, right? So CAS and CASS, like, these are two things. One is for, like, the health insurance, basically, and another one is for the pension. I don't need them. I'll take care of myself. Fuck off. Every single time I get sick, I go to a private hospital anyway, so... Anyway. I wouldn't fight anyone, dude. I'll get my ass whooped. Like, at least I'm admitting it. To be fair, okay, let me put it this way. If there was a streamer that had, like, millions of views, and they want to fight me, and I would know that I would get a lot of money in donations and shit, and I get to travel, yeah, fuck it, I'll fight them. Fuck it. I'll go and train. Yeah, I'll get my ass whooped. That's fair. You know, I'll go there, I'll take a few punches. I'll be like, ah, shit, this hurts. But then you end up with the money, right? You end up shaking hands and meeting different content creators, and you're getting more subscribers and publicity and fame. And you got a nice vacation out of it. So, like, yeah, no, fine, I'll do it. Yeah. How expensive is a 2-floor house in Romania? $100,000. It's not very expensive. So the Romanian government just messing with these Tate clowns at the behest of the UK. No, what the Romanian government does, and this is where they're experts at, is at intercepting communications. So basically, when they got the Tates, they probably just file a request from most of the social media websites, like from Meta, from TikTok, from YouTube, right? Like they just, and the phone companies. And then they go through all the WhatsApp messages and they go through all of the chat history. Like, the thing is, Meta consistently abides by governments asking, and from what I understand, you don't even need a court order. Like, if the government just asks Meta, right? So they did this with Twitter as well. It was revealed in the Twitter files. Like, there are government channels where they can just ask, and they don't need a court order or anything. They're like, no, we're part of the German authorities, and we want to see this guy's private message. And Twitter would be like, yeah, sure, fine, here's it. Right? Like, it would be like unheard of for a company like Meta to deny a government ad. Like, please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, if you know a situation where the government asked information on a private citizen from social media, and the social media company said, no, give us a court order, let me know if that's the case, right? So basically what happens is, like, you're asking for the information from all these places. And eventually, it takes a lot of time to go through all the logs. I mean, you have, like, more than one person involved in a case, right? And you have to have someone sitting there through years of conversations. And it seems that they did find problematic logs, like problematic communication between the Tate brothers and some minors. So no, like, it's published, like, the links are published in the Romanian press, which is something that shouldn't happen because the investigation should be done in secrecy and in privacy, but the Romanian government constantly leaks to the press. And yeah, I mean, the trial is still going, right? They're not free to leave the country. They're still going to face trial. It doesn't look good from what I can see from the evidence that was provided, from the leaks. I mean, let me put it this way. If Dr. Disrespect leaks were cancel-worthy, and we were to measure in how many Dr. Disrespects are the Tate brothers involved in, I would say at least 10,000 Dr. Disrespects level of cancel-worthy, with legal implications. So, anyway, yeah, they do get to see your end towers. Well, the thing is, it depends from country to country. Like, if you're a nobody, they're probably not going to surveil you, right? Probably your communication is logged somewhere. Like, they know that. Well, it's not that they know. Like, okay, imagine this, right? How many people work for the government? And now, how many people are in the country? So chances are it's more than 10,000 to 1 ratio, right? Probably 100,000 to 1, I don't know, depending on the size of the nation. So they physically cannot, like, even if they wanted to, they would not be able to zero in on every private communication. Now, even if they have the ability to, which they do, they can't physically do it. This may change when AI becomes a thing. But, like, right now what they do is they listen to keywords. They do have, like, the ability to zero in on some conversations, which is probably what they're doing in the United Kingdom now with the protests and stuff. But yeah, like, there is zero internet privacy. Like, if you want privacy right now, I would recommend that you use the mail. Like, just like your grandfather did, you send mail through the mailbox, like, written by hand. But, if you actually write it with a computer, that would probably be better. Like, that is how you actually get privacy if you want privacy. Like, it's the best way. Everything that has to do with the internet, technology, phones, everything like that, no, you don't get privacy. So when the government finds a person of interest, and there can be, like, 2 reasons, right? Either you're under an investigation, because, like, you have said something in public, or someone found you doing something and reports you, right? So, like, in Britain, it's like, oh, my neighbor said the N-word. Well, then they're under an investigation. So then the government can ask the social media company for all the information about you. And in most cases, the social media provides them. So all DMs, everything you said, everything you did. Usually they store it for a couple of years. Like, I don't know. It's up to, like, how different social media companies store their data. But there's also, if it's a corrupt nation, and let's say, like, someone wants to become a politician, right? Or someone is wanting to become a judge. Or I have even seen cases where someone wanted to become the dean of a university, and the other candidate had relationships to the investigators, because one of the investigators' daughter was there. So, like, they asked for a favor, like, hey, look into this guy. Then they can look into you, right? So when they look into you, if they find anything embarrassing, then it doesn't have to be illegal, right? But if it's something embarrassing, they can leak it to the press. If it's something, it can even be something illegal. Like, a lot of people do illegal stuff without thinking. Like, for instance, piracy, right? So, like, they pirated something. Or anything that they consider problematic, right? Like, the idea is not to convict the person, but is to cast enough public doubt to create, like, a media buzz storm around them, and the possibility that they may be corrupt, which is enough to get them in trouble. So yeah, it's it's the new normal, I would say. And with the invention of AI, it's going to become a little bit more invasive, because with the invention of AI, when the system is tinkered to a reasonable degree, you're going to have the actual profile of a citizen. Like, you're going to know exactly the age, the hobbies, the products that they're interested in, and then you can even speculate, like the political opinions, how they're likely to change their mind on some issues, like how they feel about abortions and whatnot. So yeah, it's a scary system, I would say. Like, the Soviets and the Nazis would wish that they would have access to our technology. And the biggest problem, I guess, is that people give their information willingly to the public. Like, they know that what they post online is going to potentially put them in legal trouble, especially in the UK. I mean, the UK, from my understanding, like, locked up thousands, if not tens of thousands of people for shit that they said online. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like the system. It's the new normal, yes. Do we have a video of Hassan getting booted? I think we do, yes. V, I hope you commented on the BG artist. What, the background artist? From my understanding, I asked my publisher to get me a background image. And the artist's name, I think it's Queen, or Queen Gambit. Anyway. Technically, in the United States, even NSA is supposed to dispose of every 72 hours. That's bullshit. Yeah, it's yeah, from my understanding, the artist is a person from Eastern Europe who worked at a museum, and he was drawing furniture, and then he got into different type of work, and yeah, he's amazing. But I asked my publisher for it, so like I don't know how much the image cost. I don't know how much he paid or anything about the artist. But he does amazing work, yes. Sent you a DM regarding a moderated issue. All right, well, Jesus, moderated issue. Serious. Let me see. DM. Is it on Twitter? Because I got like many social media accounts, and some of them. Oh, somehow this happened while my phone was in my pocket. I just want to make sure it was just a message removal and the user tag the mage wasn't hidden on your channel. Is the user tag the mage hidden on my channel? Why would tag the mage? I don't ban people, by the way. There have been like a couple of occasions where I did ban people from my chat. The first one is spamming. Like, if you're a bot and you're promoting websites or shit. And the second one is spamming, as in if you're like typing something over and over. You like tag the mage, posted some owls, and it's a deleted message. Oh, okay. So subject to change accidentally deleted the messages from tag the mage. Tag the mage. It was an accident. Hold on, I'll unhide him. Yeah, he shouldn't. Yeah, a moderator accidentally banned someone on their phone. There we go, fixed it. All right. Hassan Piker. Let's see what Hassan Piker got himself into now. Oh, by the way, before we do that, there's a very, very interesting question that someone asked a person at the DNC, and like, you know, it's one of those what is a woman questions, like in that level, in that category, like something that you cannot get a Democrat to answer.
Would you rather have a democracy or access to abortions?
Either or. I feel like that's a very tough question to answer. I feel like that's almost not possible to answer. I feel like I couldn't pick.
So, like, would you rather have access to abortions or democracy?
One or the other.
Even if you had to choose?
If I had to choose,
Can we get a final answer? I know it's hard.
I love the fact that there's a cutout. Like, you can definitely see that they had to ruminate on this question for quite a while. Like, this was a very hard question to answer.
I guess access to abortions.
It's Brad Summer, the queen of the Brad's house.
We certainly will.
Yeah, baby.
So, okay. Wow. It's a very interesting question, right? Because it's the question is like, what do you need? Like, selfishness or the common good, right? Because, like, again, the Democrats believe that democracy is the common good. It's not. It's a constitutional republic. But anyway, right. So, like, what do you value more? And the thing is, like, they also believe, when you ask the question, you need to believe that most people don't want abortions, which is false, by the way. But, like, you must believe that, and you must believe that the democratic system, like the democracy, right, would just automatically ban your position because you're in the minority. So, like, you do understand that your position is tyrannical about on people, right? Like, most people do not agree with your position, but you have to inflict it on them. So, in that case, you're not for democracy. But you gotta pretend that you're for democracy, right? That's interesting. Now the thing with abortions, I said my piece on them, and I'll keep saying it. Look at Europe. Like, we have abortions in Europe, but we do not have, like, this massive, how should I even say? It's not like fetishization. Yeah, I would say it can be in some cases fetishization, because you see, like, a TikTok influencer that's very popular. And they're bragging about getting an abortion, and they're happy about getting one. And then there's, like, other TikTok influencers that change their gender, and it's like, oh, I can hardly wait for, like, uteruses to be transplanted to me so that I can get an abortion. You know, like, you get, like, all this vile stuff said by major content creators and influencers. I don't know if they mean it or not, or they just want to go viral, but, like, it's something that, you know, just because you can dance on your grandma's grave doesn't mean you have to do it. You know, it's kind of like that. Like, if I go, sorry, if someone goes and they take a piss on their dad's grave or something, you know, that would be viewed incredibly disturbing by most people, even though it's legal. Like, even though you wouldn't technically get arrested for it or breaking the law just for doing it, it would be considered vile and repugnant, right? So, like, here in Europe, like, we do have laws that permit abortion, but, like, we do not have people cheering them on or praising them on or being happy and ecstatic that they got one. The laws are more common sense. Like, I seen in America that there were lawmakers that were advocating for, like, a day before birth. So, like, if the contractions haven't started, right, and the baby isn't out, like, you can still have the abortion. Like, that is the most radical, extremist thing that you can say. And then you also have, like, the problem with how do you cope with COVID, right? Because the whole reason Roe v. Wade got thrown out is that COVID was saying, well, my body, my choice. Like, what's before? Sorry, Roe v. Wade was saying, like, your body, your choice. What goes between you and your doctor is private information. And then COVID comes around. It's like, no, you need to show QR code. And if you don't show QR code, you don't get to sit at McDonald's. And what's between you and your doctor is a matter of public health. So, like, what you do interests the public, etc., etc. So, like, okay, well, how do you reconcile with both? Like, you need to pick one or the other. And it seems that the Supreme Court went like, yeah, well, actually, COVID is fine. Like, you can show QR codes to everyone. And what matters of public health is matters of public opinion. And apparently, like, that's what the Supreme Court has decided. In Europe, it's like, the safe, legal, and rare actually got imposed. In the sense that, you know, just like you have COVID tests and you have to test yourself every week. Well, if you're pregnant and you're having sex, then start peeing on the test every week. Just like with COVID. Like, the idea, oh, like, how would women know? It's like the same way they knew if they have COVID or not. Right? Like, you are supposed to buy a PCR test and you are supposed to test yourself. In some countries, they made you test yourself like every 48 hours. Right? You don't have to test yourself 48 hours, and you don't have to stick some nasty stuff in your nose. You can pee on a test every 2 weeks. Right? Like, if you're having sex, if you're having promiscuous sex, and You know, like, first of all, use the condom, use contraceptives. By the way, like, did you notice that this is a conversation that just doesn't exist in the United States of America at all? Like, use the condom is something that people just do not say. Like, I have never heard an American promoting the condom. Like, why? What is against the condom? Why do you have against it? Like, why do you hate it so much? What is it? You know, I have heard Americans promoting vasectomies. I have heard Americans talk about abortions. They almost never talk about the condoms. Like, for some reason, does it have mystical energies? Like, does it crush the penis? Like, what is about the condom that you guys don't like? Genuine question. Like, I'm asking Americans. Like, is there, like, something that... Like, do you have, like, the anti-condom movement or what? Like, are the condoms too small? Do you import them from India? Like, what's happening here? You're actually streaming where I can watch. Thank you, Terry Diamondis. I may do it more often if you're keeping giving me money. There are so many different types of birth control. I'm aware, and a lot of Americans choose the most dangerous types. No, like, seriously, when I was in med school, we actually learned a lot about the women birth control, right? And we go through the side effects, and at the end of it, I'm like, well, why the fuck would any woman want to do this to her body? Like, literally, I was asking. Because, like, let's look at the side effects, right? Hormonal imbalance means that a lot of women are going to have really nasty mood swings that can affect their quality of life and their circle of friends. Obesity, which comes with other issues, right? Like diabetes associated with blood clots and stuff like that. Self-esteem image, blah, 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 blah. And then there's also the chance that if you forget to take the pills when you need to, you can still get pregnant. So I was asking, like, okay, so, like, why do women put up with it when the condom exists? Like, why would you not just take the condom? And I haven't got a satisfactory answer. Condoms are like swimming in a raincoat. Just like the latest condoms, like maybe I have like the world's most sensitive penis. I don't know, but like the latest condoms that come out, like the latest generation of them, they're not that bad. Like, here's the thing. It's a lot of people associate condoms with teenagers, right? It's like, oh well, you don't want to get her pregnant because you're 18. And you can't have a baby yet because you're 18, right? So the solution is that even if your body is absolutely raging with hormones and you're a guy and you have like the possibility of this really cute chick that wants to date you, like, you should say no until you're 29 and you can get married and you have your own apartment. So between 18 and 29, do not have sex ever under any circumstance, because that's the American way of life and that's what Jesus wanted. Like, it's not, the condoms are not just for those people, right? They're also for married people. Like, if you're married and you have 3 kids and you don't want the 4th, you still want to fuck your wife, right? Like, more than 70% of marriages end up in a divorce if there's no sex. Like, this is statistically speaking, like, it's a huge number. Like, more than 2/3 of all marriages end up with a divorce if there's no sex. So whether because, like, a partner is leaving the country and the other partner is alone and they're not having sex, or whether, like, the woman gets pouty and she just doesn't want to have sex, like, whatever the reason, right? Even if one partner just can't perform, like, whatever the reason, it ends up with a divorce. So you're going to have, like, the situation where a family maybe did have 3 kids and they don't want the 4th. No, you shut up, ting ting, right? Because I'm giving you wisdom now. You should benefit from it. And they need to use condoms. And the idea of a vasectomy is also not a really good choice, because it's not always reversible. And you may end up, you know, with your significant other passing away, like it has happened. And then you want to marry again, and the other person wants children. What do you do? It's like, well, I can't. Okay. It feels better without one. See, maybe it's this mindset, which is why America is such a big fan of abortions. I don't know. Like, if it feels better without one, then I guess it feels better with a kid. It feels better with STDs. Who am I to disagree? Anyway. What about those copper things they put in the uterus? I don't know. See, like the concept of spreading your seed is something that I don't agree, because everyone can have kids, but the quality of the kid is also important. Like, sure, you can't just go from flower to flower and have like a million bastards, and you don't care where they end up. But it's also like, I think it's more important to know that you raised your kid well, and your kid is becoming a pillar of the community. They managed to get a successful career, and they're marrying, and they're having kids. I think that's far superior than to just have like 20 kids. But like, not everyone agrees with me. I understand. It is what it is. I mean, feel maxing. Yeah, it must be feel maxing. Jesus. Love the feeling of child support. Oof. God. It's not necessarily like greed and lust. It's more like it's human nature. Like, reproduction is part of every single biological creature. And it's unreasonable to ask a person for abstinence for more than 10 years, after they become of legal age. And you're telling them, yeah, like, for the next 10 years, you're going to become a monk. Like, and by the way, we also don't like masturbation. That's bad as well. Right, like, I don't think that... I mean, you can ask them. You can try, but I don't think you're going to be successful at generating such a culture. I don't think it works. I mean, you're free to try. You're free to advocate for it. It is what it is. Evolving dad here? Well, I'm a dad as well, right? But the reason I'm a dad is because I actually did decide, yeah, like, we do have the financial means of being respectable parents and responsible parents. And, we're going to probably go for a second child at some point. But we also want to guarantee that the child we have is actually going to end up with a successful career, to be able to be a law-abiding citizen, to be able to take care of himself, and to make rational and well-thought-out decisions, so that he too can have a family and give us grandchildren. Not everyone thinks like us. Like, some people are like, oh, well, just going to make 5 or 6. And out of 5 or 6, like, 1 or 2... eventually the dice fall properly, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. Like, you do your own decisions. I did mine. The thing with child support that I don't like is the fact that the woman doesn't get to show receipts. Like, here's the difference between child support and government support. During COVID, the government was giving every company $2,000 to spend as they wish. And the way I spent my money was to pay my taxes. You could do that. It was legal, right? And it's kind of funny because people who did what I did ended up not getting audited. Because if I get audited, it's like, what did you do with the $2,000? I paid my taxes. I mean, there's nothing that the government can complain. I would love to see a case where the government complains because, like, a person paid their taxes. But there were other companies that, but like, I had to make absolutely sure, because, like, there were, I don't know, like $50 left or something like that. And my accountant, like, no, we need to send the money back, and we need, like, 45 receipts to show exactly how the money went through and where they went and how they gone and blah, blah, blah. So, like, a lot of paperwork for those $50, which eventually went back to the government. But basically, the idea is that other companies that did differently, and they spent money on, like, because you could, like, for instance, I could have bought a new gaming chair, right? And say, well, it's for my job. Like, I do YouTube videos, so, like, the gaming chair is part of my job. Like, I use it to sit on it while making the YouTube videos. Like, here's the evidence. It appears in the videos. You can see that I'm not using it for something else. So, like, they're very meticulous with how you spend the government grants. Like they actually know where every single dollar goes, and they want to make sure that every single dollar is fit for purpose, right? Like, not a single cent is allocated differently. Now, let's talk about child support, right? So, like, what is the purpose of child support? Well, you're a father, and the money needs to go to the baby, right? And sometimes you have to pay, like, ridiculous fees. Like, you gotta pay, like $5,000 to the woman or more. And it's like, what baby needs $5,000? Like, I'm sorry, I mean, I have a baby. Like, if I wanted, right now, if I wanted to spend $5,000 on the baby, I would not be able to. Like, that is nothing. Like, you buy the nappies, you buy the milk formula, unless the baby is sick. Okay, if it's sick, that's a different question. But, like, if the baby is healthy and there's nothing sick with him, and you know, you buy him like a comfortable bed, you buy him like everything else. Fuck, you even hire a nanny. Like, it's not going to go over $5,000, right? But the woman doesn't have to prove that the money goes to the baby. Like, if the woman so desires, she can just, like, hold the baby with no nappies. She can just put a towel around it, right? She can just hold him in a place and give him neglect, like the bare minimum of attention so that the baby is alive and is surviving. And she can use that money to go out, date other guys, and then mind her own business and buy expensive clothes. And she doesn't have to justify it. She doesn't have to show any receipts. She doesn't have to prove where the money is going. And I feel like even if you, as the husband, proves that, look, the money isn't going for the baby, like, even that would be a huge legal issue. And you may still not win the case. So, yeah, like, the child support just goes to the mother. Which is what it is, you know. It's like, but so like when the government gives you money, again, every single cent needs to be accounted for. It's because it's the government's money, right? But when it's your money, oh well, it doesn't matter where it goes. Yeah, you can hire a full-time live-in nanny and still have a few grand. Yeah. No, I mean, like, when you see child support, which goes, like, more than the average income, like, that is not funding the kid. Like, that is funding the woman's lifestyle. And in some places, you even have alimony and stuff. It's like, come on. It's ridiculous. I use child support to buy her a new man a fishing boat. Yeah, like, see, is the emotional impact as well that's very damaging. Like, imagine if women had to do it, and in some cases they do, and they're not coping very well. Because, like, you go to see on Reddit, and you go to see on TikTok, like, there are some cases, they're very rare, true, but they do exist where the man gets the custody, and now the woman has to pay for child support, and they find it so unfair, they find it so disturbing, and it's like, why? Well, because now the man is going out with, like, young ladies, you know, he's like maybe 29 and he's dating with 18-year-olds or 20, 22. And the other woman that's paying is coping and seething because he's taking, like, all these ladies to the restaurant and they're making TikTok videos about it and they're making Reddit posts about it and they're very disturbed. And it's like, how is it possible? Like, why is this fair? Why is it happening? And it's like, well, it's a shame that, like, you actually need to have it in your backyard to understand why it's a problem, but no, what can you do? The courts take a percentage of the child support and alimony? Get the fuck up. Is that a thing? I don't think they do it in my country. I mean, when I was studying law, we didn't talk about the fees for the courts and stuff like that. Like, that's something you find out when you actually start practicing. But it would be shocking if that's the case. Because then the incentive would be to give, like, as high amount of alimony and child support as possible, right? My brother's ex-wife had to pay him alimony, and now that he's making more than her, she's trying to take the kids away because she's having a full-out episode. Oof. V, please, your voice is annoying. See, this is why I should start smoking. Like, if I start smoking, my voice becomes less annoying because it becomes more deep. I also noticed that when I talk in Romanian, I talk with a deeper voice. When I talk in English, I squeak. I don't know why. But anyway, let's look at Hassan, right? Jesus, the courts take a cut out of every single child support. So basically, it's a lucrative business. No wonder the government is in favor of promiscuity and is in favor of broken families. Like, if that's the case, no, seriously, like, think about it, right? Like, if you profit off of something, you incentivize it. If you lose money off of something, you try to stop it, right? So, if the government actually profits from child support, then it wants people to pay more child support. It's, like, disturbing. Why aren't the people talking about this shit? Like, it should be a more mainstream talking point then. Jesus. Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ. I didn't know. Now it makes sense. Now, because I was wondering, like, why is the government in favor
Axe those rich old whiteys.
of promiscuity? It's not like it's okay if it happens, though. Like, you can see that they try to shut down any type of conversation that's like pro-family, pro-family unit, like that type of thing. You don't even see it in the media, man. Like, I was looking. Okay, so let me show you an example of what I mean. A lot of governments, they actually fund entertainment. Like they actually pay money to either game developers or movie makers or other type of things in order to make, progressive films and progressive stuff. So like the new game Dust Bowl or whatever it's called, the cringiest one of all. Apparently they're paid by the Norwegian government or the European Union, right? So, like, the government does have a direct involvement in art. Usually in America, I think it's through tax cuts, right? Like, look at Disney and how many government benefits they have. So, the reason is that the government does agree with the stuff that the company is producing to a certain extent. So, I want to find a picture, and then I can show you what I mean by this. I'm scrolling through my Twitter because I did post it a couple of days ago. And a lot of people, like, didn't understand the message or what I was trying to say. And now it's a good point in bringing it back on. Still scrolling. It's going to take a little bit. Got a lot of Wukong stuff. Oh my goodness, I need to make a video about the fact that the new operative in the Tom Clancy game is on a wheelchair. Because, like, that's my fantasy, Like, I play games for escapism and fantasy, and I always wanted to play as a person in a wheelchair. I never understood how it's like, but now, with the new patch, I can finally do it. Right, finally. Holy shit. Okay, it took a while. So, there's this picture. It's made by an artist. It's not an official picture or anything. But it's fan art from a video game called Nikkei, right? And my point, I'm seeing this picture, and I realize it's not very well drawn. Like, it's not bad either, but it's like mediocre. But it's got like 100,000 of views, and a lot of people that like this are from the West. And I'm thinking, like, okay, why is it that Westerners like this? Right? Like, it's not pornographic or anything. I mean, sure, it's a little bit lewd. Like, the lady... I wouldn't actually even say that it's lewd. I mean, okay, so the lady has big breasts and is dressed in a way that a lot of women here in Romania dress during the summer. Like she... Okay, if this was 1940, you can say she's dressed provocatively, but, like, given how ladies dress when you go to the mall, like her outfit is not really that out there, right? So why is it? Why is it that this particular picture is so fashionable with Westerners? And then I realized that, and chat, please help me on this. Think really hard in the last 5 years. Right? So, like, last 5 years of movies, TV shows, video games that were produced in the West. Give me an example of a heteronormative relationship where you have two people that just love each other and there's no strings attached, right? Like, she's not cheating on him, he's not cheating on her, there's no drama, no, like, there is no ifs or buts. They just love each other. They're just in a relationship and they love each other. Now, a lot of people would say, well, yeah, but, like, Nikkei does give you the harem, so, like, the man is surrounded by women, and it's not really like the heteronormative thing. And, like, okay, ignore the fact that this is from Nikkei, right? Like, there are other animes out there, and there's other Asian video games that do promote heteronormativity. They promote just a couple that loves each other, right? And they're both good looking, they're both nice, and there's no cheating, there's no promiscuous sex or anything. It's just like these characters are in love, period. That's it. Now, try to find me something similar that exists in the West. And I generally, like, as a challenge, it's not like me mocking or anything, like, no. Just as a challenge, like, try to find me something wholesome. Now, there used to be the Disney movies, right? Like, we used to have the Cinderellas and the Beauty and the Beast and all of that. We used to have them. And they were incredibly popular in the West. But now the Disney live remakes adaptations, what do? Oh, the prince is a misogynist. Oh, like this is rape culture. Oh no, we can't have that. Instead, we're going to have Pinocchio and going to queerify the story of Pinocchio. Where at the end of the story, it's not really clear if Pinocchio becomes a boy or not, because it doesn't really matter. What matters is it's in his heart and how he identifies himself. So, oh, American Outlier. Holy shit. Thank you for the $50. Jesus. Hi V, hope all is well. Heard you're talking about my mom. LOL. Seriously, I remember when my mom kicked him out of the house and several weeks later, she getting that government check. I know my dad was great, but when the check came, now to my mom, he wasn't shit. Yeah, see, I can't really blame your mom. I don't know the relationship you have with her. And I don't want to be that guy. Because usually, like, getting into a family business without knowing everything is not fair. But if the government incentivizes this behavior, then I can't blame the people taking advantage of it. Because, like, human beings, if you look at humans as a polling number, right? Like, you're looking not as people, as individuals making decisions, but as masses of people. They will always take the path of least resistance, right? It's kind of like when you think how things should be, and you're playing a video game, and you have, like, someone with an electricity weapon. And they fire up the electricity weapon and it goes into the target and the target gets electrified, right? Like that's the theory. That's how you want things to work. In reality, if you have an electricity weapon, it would go to the closest object, so it just like fall downwards. It would just like, you know? It's kind of the same with people and with legislation. Like you pass a law and you're thinking like this is how the law should operate. This is how the law should work. But in reality, it doesn't. It does completely different. So like if you have the situation of marriage, like, marriage used to be for life. It used to be like a vow that you take in front of God. So, like, under the most extreme conceivable circumstances, should the marriage be dissolved? And you change that, and you're making it, well, actually, you know, like, a person can now file a divorce just because they're bored. They don't even need a particular reason. Maybe they're seeking an adventure. Maybe they're bored with their life. And the other person has to pay child support. Well, now you actually have a financial incentive. Like, imagine this. Imagine if I can get into a business with American Outlier, right? So, like, we're both creating a business. We're creating a manga together. So now, you know, I bring my wealth to the table. American Outlier brings his wealth to the table. And we're now collaborating on this endeavor of creating a manga. But at any point, I can say, you know what? I just don't want to do it anymore. No reason given, no nothing. And now I get half of American Outlier shit. Like, half of everything he has, I now get it. How would that be fair? How would that even be remotely equitable? In what world would that make any type of sense? It doesn't, right? But, like, for some fucking reason, with marriage is different. I'm sorry, Tomcat, for you to being mean to you. What's the manga called? Worth Fighting For. But we would have to make another manga because that's his own project. Like we would have to create something else. Anyway, right? Let's go to Hassan. Holy shit, it's been a while, right? So like, is there video of Hassan getting kicked off? Well, let's see. Apparently, he started talking about Palestine, and he was criticizing America's greatest ally at the DNC, and this is why he got kicked out. I can't find video of him getting kicked out, but like basically, it was like two gentlemen just kindly asking him to leave. So it wasn't like anything funny or hilarious. Like it wasn't an actual struggle that took place. Right? It wasn't as funny as when Alex Jones bursted in on Cenk Uygur and started getting Cenk annoyed. I don't know why he got kicked off, like, and no one knows, even Hassan doesn't know, and I'll tell you why. Usually at these types of events, it takes time for things to be put in motion. So unless they actually had like a censorship team dedicated to make sure that none of the streamers step out of line. What probably happened is that someone was watching the stream, they saw a topic that they didn't like, and then they had to call security, and then security had to send the guy. So like usually this takes like 10 or 15 minutes. So most likely he didn't get kicked off for what he was saying when he was asked to leave. He got kicked off for something that he said before he was asked to leave. So there's two possibilities here. Number one, they really didn't like the fact that he was criticizing America's greatest ally. Like that is definitely on the table. The other possibility is that most of the streamers invited were given a list of talking points. Like this is kind of standard procedure at these left-leaning events, right? Like everything has to be controlled, everything has to be sanitized. And it's not just like things you can't talk about, but things you should talk about. So like if he was deviating from that list, that's also another reason why he was asked to leave. So no, like we don't know unless like someone from the DNC themselves come out and they say, well, this is why we kicked Hassan. We're never going to know, but we can suspect, right? Now I do want to say that people like Hassan, they were famished, they were craving, they were starving for censorship. Like for the last couple of years, they have normalized the concept of censorship. Like this happening in 2014 would have been unthinkable, right? Like the correct way to deal with this, it's like if you invited a reporter that's aggressive, or is like not doing what you want them to do, well, you send someone that's trained in debates, you send a PR person to actually sit with them and have a conversation. And the PR person can either try to get the reporter to behave in a way that's impolite, whether by screaming, shouting, saying slurs, and then they can use that to kick them off, and it looks better on cameras. Or they can just debunk their arguments, right? Like they can say, well, no, like we need to support our greatest ally because our greatest ally is great because such and such, and you just don't understand that you, Hassan, you spoke about 9/11 and you spoke about all these bad things and you had a Houthi on your stream and whose side are you on? Are you really an American? Blah, 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 blah. Like this is how you should have handled it. But again, they do have a competency crisis, so... How am I lying, Lego? Wait. I've been accused of lying. Chat, what did I say that's incorrect? Lego, please correct me if I said something that is harmful and dangerous misinformation. Let me know and I'll issue a correction. Anyway, they booted Matt Walsh too, and James O'Keefe. The thing is, like, with Matt Walsh and James O'Keefe, you can make the argument that they were agitators, right? So, like, you can always put agitators from an event. Like, the RNC does this all the time. Like, if you have an actual protester or a person that's there in order to stir up trouble and to stir up shit, that's one thing. But when you personally invite someone, right? Like, you personally invite a journalist. Like, Hassan Piker is journalist not in name only, right? But, sorry, is a journalist but in name only because he's got access to millions of fans. And that's literally what he's doing. It's no different than what CNN is doing. Like, there are newspapers out there in publication that have smaller reach than Hassan Piker. So the DNC invited him not because he was interested in Hassan, the man. They were interested in the millions of subscribers that watch him. So when you do that, you can't just kick out the guy afterwards because you don't like their opinion. It looks really bad. Oh, layer, not liar. Sorry, it's early in the morning, man. I just woke up. I do like to make sure that everything that I say is factual. So, like, if I say something that's unfactual or incorrect, I do like people pressing me on it, and then I can change my mind if I was wrong. Has happened in the past. Yeah, I am stirring up shit. Like, if I was to be invited to an event like the DNC, I would expect that they would kick me out or not allow me in. No, like, that's fair, right? Like imagine this. You have a Dungeons and Dragons event, right? And you're sitting there with your friends and you're playing. And there's this guy that really hates Dungeons and Dragons. Like, he's very opinionated about it. He thinks that people that play Dungeons and Dragons are dorks. He thinks that it's a kiddie game. And he wants to join your table. Like, what is the correct answer? It's fuck off, right? Like, he's not interested. He's interested in stirring shit. So there are these exceptions that do make sense. Like, yeah, you're not going to invite agitators to an event. Correct. I mean, they can agitate from outside the event. That's fine. But, like, when you're in the event, when you're in the zone, and you're in there to stir up shit, yeah, I can see why they would kick you out. Although I would understand though, like it's not that I would understand. I would not find it surprising if the RNC wouldn't kick away leftist reporters, because like what Matt Walsh did wasn't destabilizing the event, right? Like he wasn't shouting so that the people on stage have difficulty speaking. He wasn't harassing anyone. He was just asking questions. And like at the RNC, you can have like a CNN or an MSNBC just asking questions. So yeah, no, now that I think about it, I'm starting to change my mind on the issue. And I do believe you're right to a certain degree. Yeah, they shouldn't have kicked Matt Walsh out. The monkey in Wukong needs pox to represent the ally community. Well, I mean, right now it's not with the pox, it's with the vitiligo skin, right? Like that's in every single fucking game. Every single one has like the character with vitiligo to the point where it doesn't look like representation or visibility. But instead it looks more like pandering. Because this is like the way I explained it. It's why Americans can't create art anymore. It's because they're using art as a product that's made on the assembly line. You know, like when you make a bike and you have like the checklists in order to guarantee that the bike is good, right? Like you have like, does it have a steering? How are the brakes functioning? Like do we have the wheels positioned correctly, right? So it's like a checklist. And now it's the same with the video game. It's like, how many black people does it have? Does it have black people? Yes. Does it have allies? Yes. Does it mention this? Yes. Does it have like the skin condition? Yes. Right? And they actually have graphs. Like there have been company leaks from Capcom and from Ubisoft, and like they actually have a point system of how much diversity a game has. And in order to have diversity, you need to insert things like pronouns, body types. You know, make sure that women aren't sexualized, and then they actually like, okay, this one has 4 points, this one has 5 points, and it needs to have at least 80 points for the game to be considered correct. You cannot create art like this. Like, I'm sorry, you can create a product. Yeah, sure, you can create something, but it's not art. You know, like, art needs to come from the soul. It can't come with checkboxes and points and shit like that. No, that's not artistic. No. Oh, my phone battery died again. God damn it, I really need to buy a new phone. Holy shit. Every single time I keep mentioning because it pisses me off. When I initially got the phone, the battery would last for 4 or 5 days, and now it doesn't last for a day, and I can't change it. I can't just pick up a new battery and just swap it in. No, I have to buy a new phone. Wow. The right to repair, as what's his name? Luis de Guzman? De Guzman, yeah, like the right to repair. All right, where's that video? Oh, is this the one? No, hold on. So apparently this game was sponsored by the Norwegian government or the European Union. I don't know which exactly, but they did get government grants. And I was thinking like someone should make a meme. And like this meme would go quite far, but like I wouldn't advise you to do it if you're from Britain. Like either show the France riots or show like the British unrest that's happening recently and play the song in the background.
We're the aliens. We're the refugees. We walk among you. We're right behind you. The time is past. Your kind won't.
See, at this point, when they say your time is past, your kind won't last, you need to show like the police officer beating up British people, like and have this song in the background.
We're the dust fortress. This bug is airborne. We're the newborn. Our kind is newborn. We're the dust born.
when they say like we're the newborn, I would show like all of the environmentalist messages of like have less kids, and then like show other messages for nappies that like race swap or go out of their way in order to like be as progressive as possible, right? Like again, this song is amazing. Like you need to take this song and apply it to real events. Like you can make some really good viral videos by using this song.
This bug is airborne. We're the newborn. Our kind is newborn. We're the dust born.
By the way, the reason they keep saying we're the new porn, this is what they're trying to accomplish, and I keep getting attacked by right wingers for pointing it out. But like the fact that right wingers are allying with these ideologues tells you a lot. So the idea is that they're not against pornography. Like the left, right, is not against pornography. People thinking that the left is against porn are mentally insane. Like, no, they are against heteronormativity, right? So like what the left is against, and you will see like a lot of people on the left freak out about this. This is what they hate, right? And they will say anything in order to get people to stop liking this. They will call you a coomer. They will tell you to touch grass. They may even call you a pedophile just to shock you into submission, right? Like they will say that the girl is underage even though she's not. Like there's no evidence that she is. Or maybe, you know, like, because I don't know in the game, I don't think they talk about her age. But like maybe like on some obscure Wikipedia page, you find out that she's 17 or something, right? And in which case, it's an easy fix. You just localize her to be 18, or you can say that the artist drew her when she's 18. And again, like the work itself is not even pornographic, right? Like there's no, like even if she was underage, the picture itself is not a problem, right? Like if you had like two real people just like appearing like this, like that's not an issue, right? Like if in a movie, in a TV show, you had like two people that are 16 and they're hugging each other like this, it wouldn't cause any outrage. Like, it wouldn't upset. I mean, you can go with Buffy Vampire Slayer, American Pie. Like, there were movies that showed this, so it wouldn't be a problem. And the left knows it's not a problem, but they will say it just to get right-wingers on their side, right? Because they don't want this. Like, they want this removed. They want this to not exist in any video game, which is why, when I asked, are there any examples of this in the last 5 years of American entertainment, whether it's movies, video games, or TV shows, can you think of any? And the answer is probably not, right? So, like, what is the intention? Why do leftists go against this? It's because, well, they're very expressive in what they're trying to accomplish. Like, here you have the new Tomb Raider, where Lara Croft is now... Let me see if I can find the picture so you can see how Lara Croft now looks like. But she looks very masculine, basically. And she's also a lesbian, right? So, like, they removed the heteronormativity from Tomb Raider. There must be a picture of it, right? So, like, this is the type of thing they're promoting. This is why they're cheating when you have, like, Baldur's Gate with bear sex on or sex with demons. And because that's queer, right? That's not heteronormative. It's queer. So, like, they will promote that. And they will use right-wingers in order to go after anything that's heteronormative. Anything that's like, oh, this game has like too much sex appeal, so it's a problem. Now, in the song, they also say why they're doing it, right? They're very obvious about it. That they're saying we're the new porn, right? So the new porn is queer. Like, they are trying to promote this, right? This is the new sex symbol that they're trying to promote. And they believe that if you remove heteronormativity from all art forms and people just don't have access to it anymore, they're going to have to consume this. Right? So, like, they're very outspoken about what they're trying. Now, will it work? I don't know. But they think it will, and they're trying to achieve it. They're trying to accomplish their goal, which is for you to consider that this is the new beauty symbol. This is like what's now beautiful. This is what's now desirable. This is what now aesthetically pleasing, because a lot of people that are creating these works of art look like this. So they think that, okay, well, I can't improve my lifestyle. You know, I can't improve my choices in fashion and looks and beauty. I can't turn time back. I can't become 20 years old again, right? So like what they're doing is like, okay, what if we change how society thinks? And by pushing our new ideas in art, by going against things like Stellar Blade, by going against things like Nikkei, by going against like all the other things that show any type of heteronormativity, and instead only we get to display this. Because like notice, you know, like right-wingers, they are laughing at this, but they're not revolted by this. Like you don't have a lot of right-wingers that say, oh, this is disgusting, disturbing, blah, blah, blah. But when it shows with Stellar Blade, oh, a lot of right-wingers are like, like Stellar Blade, oh, so disgusting, so disturbing. And I don't know, like, what, do you think the left is incompetent to do their own agenda themselves? Like, do you think they really need your help that bad? It's just like something that I noticed on Twitter. But it is what it is. Anyway, Brian Chi, it sounds like people were too scared to say it. It was terrible in the studio. It's not necessarily that. I already explained what it is. So, from my understanding, this studio actually got paid by the government to make it, to make the game. They got paid millions of dollars in grants. I have this from 3 different people that told me that the government gave them grants and tax cuts in order to make this game, right? Now, I want you to remember back in 2016, like one of the insults that you could give to these ideologues that pissed them off the most, and they fought really hard to get rid of this stigma, was to call them fake geeks, right? Like if you called one of them fake geeks, they would spurg out. Like any other insult was fine. You know, like water off of a goose ass. There was no problem. You could call them everything. But the moment you called them fake geek, you watched how they cringed and how they squirmed and how really upset they got about it. Because that's what they were. They weren't in it in order to make good video games. They were in it for the money and the fame and the spotlight. It's like, okay, now I'm a game developer. Now I'm in the industry. Now I get paid. That's what they want, right? They want to make money. So they're not interested in creating immersion, creating memorable characters, creating a memorable game, creating interesting game mechanics, revolutionizing the gaming industry. They're not interested in any of that. They're interested in the paycheck. Right? So as long as it's good enough, as long as it's looking like some sort of video game, they did their job, right? So they can't be sued, they can't be, right? It's passable. And in order to make the video game, the government also requires it to be woke. So they're like going through the checklist. It's like, okay, let's make it woke. It's like, da-da-da-da-da. What are the 2018 talking points? Da-da-da-da-da. And there you go, right? And they push the game. And the only people that lose are the taxpayer. They're making money. They don't care if you buy the game or not. They would probably prefer if you buy it, sure. But like, it doesn't really affect them because they already made the cash. And now they're probably going to go on another adventure where they're going to get paid some more grants. And they're going to make another game. V, did you see Concord cost $300 million to make? I don't know what happened with Concord. I haven't people on the inside like tell me if governments paid for it or if they got tax cuts. They probably did get funding from investors. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But like there are certain games, man, where again you look at it and it is dead on arrival. Like you just need a small glimpse. You just need to not even like a couple of seconds to see the trailer and you'll say, yeah, no one is going to buy this shit. Like the thing with Concord that really shocks me, right? Like let's compare Concord with Overwatch. So see if I can find. The funny thing is that IGN gave Concord an 8 or some shit. And I'm like, in what possible world? In what fucking universe? Like, 8 is, I would say it's a game that if I play, I don't get bored to death, you know? And there's like, well, there's like 100 people or so playing Concord a couple of days ago. Okay, so we got Concord, right? Now what type of game is Concord? Like how do they plan to monetize? Well, they plan to monetize by firstly having people buy the game, and then probably selling skins and DLC and loot boxes and stuff for the characters. Now this is a fantasy game, so what exactly decides what a player purchases? And the answer is that it's based on if the person would fantasize themselves in a world with that character. Like, would you like to be that character? Would you like to talk with that character? Would you like to hang out that character? Or even, would you like to be that character? And the answer to all of these characters is fuck no. I have no interest in meeting any one of these. I have no, like my fantasies are way and beyond what this is. So no, I will not buy the game. I'm not interested in it. And if I do buy the game, like let's say you manage to somehow like make the best gameplay ever, like the sound effects are amazing, the combat is really great, but the characters look like ass, then there are people that will buy the game, but they will definitely not spend on loot boxes or skins or anything because the characters look like ass. Now let's compare it with a successful game. Let's compare it with Overwatch, right? All of these characters are oozing with personality. And you can see yourself fantasizing either being these characters or being in their universe or wanting to hang out with them. Like, who wouldn't want to hang out with Mercy? Who wouldn't want to go on a date or have a drink with Mercy? Or Widowmaker? Or even like this chunky chica. Like, there were a lot of people that enjoyed immersing themselves in the Overwatch universe because it was a pleasant universe. It was an interesting universe. It was fucking cool, right? So your characters need to either be cool, they need to either be sexy, or they should be funny, right? So, like, for instance, this robot with a bird on his shoulder and a little cap, it's funny. So, and it goes like, right? Like a monkey with glasses. It's funny, but it's also cool. Like, he's muscular. He jumps all the way up in the air and he electrocutes people. It's fucking awesome. Mercy casting her revive spell. It looks cool. And she's hot, right? So you have coolness, you have sexiness. This guy is cool. He's like a massive guy with a big shield. It's probably hot. I think like women may like him. Right? So like, this is how you do interesting characters. Like either cool, sexy, or funny. None of this applies here. Like, this is not cool, this is not sexy, this is not funny. Or she looks displeased, she looks disgusted to see me. Like, she's looking at me. And she's looking as if I'm shit. As if I'm garbage. As if I'm literal human garbage. This is how she looks at me. She's not looking at me in an inviting manner. She's not looking at me as like someone that tries to drag me into her universe and have an adventure with me. She looks at me with disdain. She looks at me with disgust. Why would I want to associate myself with this character? Meanwhile, look how the Overwatch characters look at you, right? Look, this lady is smiling like she's a little bit insecure. She needs your help to have a nice day at the ice cream shop. Seriously, like the Overwatch thing, when it came out, like there were actual women that were into porn and cosplay because of Overwatch, right? And it was so hilarious because I remember when the game came out, like porn of Overwatch characters was so popular that it was on top of the Google search engines. Like you had Overwatch, the official website, underneath Pornhub. And that's when Blizzard decided to copyright strike porn from the internet. I actually found out the lore about that because they didn't want like people to look for Overwatch and they would find out like the pornography on top, which is fair, you know. But I tell you, like there are a lot of people that found the game through the porn and they were like, well, like these characters are interesting. They're from a video game. Oh, I'll buy the game. And there were many people that just bought the product because of the fan art. And by the way, like can you imagine a woman cosplaying in these characters? Like another question, right? Like, can you imagine any woman with some level of self-esteem cosplaying as any of these from the roster? So yeah, no, like they're trying to pretend that aesthetics don't matter, but like Capcom released a survey showing why people like video games, and when it came to guys, I think it was number 1 or number 2, but it was like the aesthetics of the characters. Like, it's that important. Anyway. At least it has no monetization from the initial price. Yeah, but like, you don't understand. In order to add monetization, it costs money. Like, you actually need to make deals and you need to get lawyers involved and stuff. And they must have known. They must have known that no one is going to buy their skins. They must have known that their game is not going to sell on aesthetics, so they didn't even bother with the monetization. Anywho, right, I need to go because I need to help my wife. The baby is going to awaken anytime soon, so I need to help my wife with breakfast and stuff. And I'll see you guys later on my other channels.